If you're like, well, I don't have time to write these like 3,000 word blog posts. Okay, get on Blue Sky or Threads or Mastodon or, heaven forbid, X. Hi there, and welcome to the Chaotic Business Podcast, where we do things a little bit different. I'm not about to give you the perfect business blueprint or tell you how many times to post on Instagram this week, because frankly, I don't think that's what makes good business owners successful. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be plenty of strategy here on this podcast, but it'll be more inspirational and less prescriptive, because you didn't start your own business just for somebody to tell you what to do. Welcome to the Chaotic Business Podcast. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chaotic Business Podcast. I am so excited for today's episode because we are talking all things content marketing. And now I know before you skip this episode, please stick around and listen because I want to teach you how to make content marketing fun. Okay, actually really fun, not bearable, not sustainable, although sustainability is important. I want to teach you how to actually make it a good time, because so many people think of content marketing as like, well, you can't live with it, you can't live without it, like it just kind of is this evil of their business. And don't get me wrong, you are entitled to feel that way about content marketing. If that's how you feel, that's fine. But give me a chance to try to change your mind, because content marketing is honestly one of my favorite parts of my business. And I would love if it was one of your favorite parts of your business, because it does eat up so much of our time. It kind of sucks to hate such a big and central part of your business, such a central part of your job. So let's talk about what content marketing is, how you can have fun doing it, and then I may or may not have a little surprise at the end that you should definitely stick around for, or if you are impatient and impulsive like me, you can check out the show notes or the description. So, what is content marketing? Content marketing is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you create content in order to market your business, okay? So this includes all the social medias. It includes, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all of the socials, right? But it also includes email marketing. It can include podcasting like this. It can include blogging and SEO strategies, SEO standing for search engine optimization. So content marketing is any content that you make to promote your work, and to get your name out there and to establish your expertise and to encourage people to buy your products. And content marketing is not just, here's my thing, would you like to buy it? Although that is absolutely one facet of content marketing, but that's not the only part of it. And I think this is one reason people tend to dislike content marketing, because they think that's all it is. And of course, nobody wants to just like hawk their wares 24/7. That doesn't feel super great, even though we have good stuff and people want it. It still doesn't feel good to feel like you're constantly selling. So one of the other aspects of content marketing is know, like, and trust. You've heard it before, right? But you may not have heard of the concept of know, like, and trust in the context of content marketing. Because a lot of times know, like, and trust, we just think of it as email or maybe podcast, but that's it. When really all of your forms of content marketing can serve the purpose of letting people get to know you, get to like you, and start to trust you, right? So there's that factor as well. And then next up there is visibility, just getting your name out there, letting people know that you exist and you're doing stuff. I can't tell you the number of times I have been creating content on TikTok since 2021, early 2021, like January, okay? And I still get new followers all the time. People who had no idea I was creating on TikTok for years and years and years, right? I did take 1 year off in 2024. But besides that, I have been creating for a long time on TikTok, and I still get new followers all the time. People who had no idea I existed. So you have to do visibility content marketing as well. So you might be thinking, Megan, this is why I don't like content marketing, because there's so much to it. You have to be visible. You have to get people to like you. You have to sell your stuff. And it's just like, it can feel like you're on a hamster wheel of production that just never stops, and you just get exhausted and burnt out. I want to talk to you about how to prevent that. because I really think it's possible to create a lot of content without burning out. I know because I've done it. Throughout the years, I've had podcasts, YouTube channels, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, what else? I tried Pinterest for a little bit. That was pretty short-lived, to be fair, but I had a blog for a time. And so I have done a lot, and I've done a lot of those simultaneously. It's not like I just hop from one to the next. At any given time, I usually have at least 3 or 4 content platforms that I am producing on. Part of that is because I have 2 businesses. And so even if I only have 2 for one business and 2 for the other, that's still 4 total. But like for this business, for the Chaotic Entrepreneur, I have this podcast, I have my email list, and I have my Instagram. So that's 3. And for the neurodivergent, or for the Neurocuriosity Club, I have YouTube, TikTok, and sometimes Instagram. Oh, and my email list. So that's 7. That's 7 content platforms that I'm producing on a regular, consistent basis. And I am not Superwoman. And also, even though I have immense privilege, I'm not like, I have 3 kids, I have 2 businesses, and there's only one me. And so I'm not saying like, oh, look at me, I can do it all. What I'm saying is it's possible. This is possible. And I think the key, the secret, my secret sauce is that I make it fucking fun. Okay? I refuse to let content marketing be boring, because then I will never do it. Okay? If it's boring or rote or repetitive, or it's just something I have to get done, I will never do it. And I think that's what a lot of people are going through. They just see socials as something they have to do. Well, there's kind of 2 things wrong with that. First of all, you're going to burn out, because doing stuff you just have to do over and over and over and over, that's not sustainable. That's going to wear you down. But the second problem is that your people are going to pick up on that vibe. They can tell you don't want to be talking to them. And that is, at best, they'll just ignore you. And at worst, they'll feel insulted. So I think, not that there's, slight tangent for a moment, I don't think there's anything wrong with treating your business like it's a job, because it is a job, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think you have to be passionate about your job 24/7. Okay. I think that's frankly a pretty bougie thing. Like, I have to love my job. Like, okay, but lots of people just have to do their job so they can eat. So I don't know, like it's a somewhat privileged point of view to feel like you have to love your job in order to do it. And also there's nuance and caveats in there. Like, I have ADHD, and ADHD makes it really hard to do stuff that I'm not, actively interested in. Like, it's just part of the disability and all of this stuff. And I want you to like your job and love your job where you can, for sure. I just don't think you have to love it all the time. So that's that tangent. But that being said, if you hate content marketing, your business is going to be hard. It's just going to be hard, because making content is a huge part of what a lot of us do. And you might be like, but Megan, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be a content creator. I just wanted to make like wedding templates for people to plan their weddings and sell them on Etsy. And I don't understand why I have to make all this content to make that happen. Or, I just wanted to be a dog walker, and I don't understand why I'm having to make all this content to make it happen. And you know what, to be fair, maybe you don't need to be making as much content as you are. Especially like local things like the dog walker example, you might be able to not just like survive off of referrals, but you might be able to really thrive from like word of mouth recommendations and everything. But if you are a purely online business, I'm sorry, but content is part of the game nowadays. It just is. And I don't want you to resign yourself to hating like 50% of your job. I don't think that that's good for your business. I don't think it's good for your mental health. And I don't think it's good for your clients or your customers either. So what is my trick? How do I love content creation? Well, first of all, part of it is just who I am as a person. I was a theater kid growing up. I love performing. I love being on camera. I love being the center of attention, not so much because of an ego thing, although that's there. It's also because I'm also autistic. And when I'm the center of attention, I know the rules. Everyone's paying attention to me. My job is to keep them entertained, maybe make them laugh, teach them something. I know my role. Whereas when I'm not the center of attention, the rules are very unclear to me and I get a little freaked out. So again, there is an ego piece there. I'm not like denying that, but I also think a big part of it is my autism. And so I think for me, a big part of it is the fact that I do enjoy performing and I enjoy being the center of attention. And you might be thinking, Megan, I keep saying that. You might be thinking, I'm like trying to read your mind. But anyway, you might be thinking, Megan, I'm a huge introvert. I do not want to be the center of attention. That is so not me. How am I supposed to enjoy this? Hey there, everybody. I am interrupting your podcast episode really quickly because I want to make sure that you are signed up for our next Community Business Oracle Session. These are community monthly meetups where we talk shop and pull tarot cards and hang out with each other, honestly, because running your own business is amazing, but it can get a little bit lonely. So if you want to see when our next meetup is, just go to the show notes or the description, and hopefully I will see you there. Well, first of all, you can pick different platforms than I do, right? Notice that I do a video podcast and I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube. Like I'm on video performing for folks, really. You don't have to do that. You can choose other platforms. There are so many platforms. There are short form text-based platforms. If you're like, well, I don't have time to write these like 3,000 word blog posts. Okay, get on Blue Sky or Threads or Mastodon or, heaven forbid, X. Get on a short form text-based platform. Especially if you're quippy and clever, go get on there. You'll do great, Let's say you're just not a video person. It stresses you out. Okay, make a podcast. Podcasts are great. You don't have to do a video podcast. You can do audio only. That is fantastic. There are so many other platforms out there for the introverted, for the shy, for the stressed out and anxious. And I think telling yourself that you can't do anything just because you can't do one thing is tempting, and I totally get it, but it's not necessarily true. It's just not true. There are so many other avenues for content creation, and I really urge you not to cut yourself off from the others just because you are quote unquote bad at one of the avenues, right? Explore some other paths. The other thing that makes my content creation really fun is there's a little bit of routine to it. Routine is important to me, again, as an autistic person, but also as an ADHD person, because routine kind of it's like the bumpers when you go bowling. It keeps me in my lane. And my content creation is kind of ritualistic. Like there is a routine to it. So every morning I wake up right around 7 because my 5-year-old comes into my bedroom and says, Mommy, can we please go downstairs and can you get me some tea? He really likes Crystal Light, like peach tea. Anyway, so he wakes me up at 7. We go downstairs. I get him some food. I get the twins up. I get them some food. I get myself dressed. We go to daycare. Come home from daycare. I pour myself a cup of coffee. And this is kind of where my morning really starts, is with my cup of coffee. If you've read Atomic Habits, I actually haven't read it, but I know in that book he talks about habit stacking. And habit stacking is when you take one habit that you already have that's already easy for you, and then you stack new habits on top of it so that you aren't just trying to implement this new thing out of the blue. You're actually attaching it to something that already comes naturally. So for me, literally the only habit I had a couple years ago, the only thing I could rely upon myself to do every day was drink my coffee. And so I was like, well, that's what I'm building my habits on. So I pour myself a cup of coffee, then I take my medications, then I go make my TikToks. So it's just like coffee, meds, TikTok. It's a very vibey morning for me. Like I open up the blinds in my office so that I get all this beautiful, fresh, natural sunlight. I moved my office into the sunniest room in the house specifically because I need the sunshine. I know a lot of autistics are dim lighting kind of people, and I get that. Not your girl. No, I want to be flooded with sunlight. Okay. And yeah, it's this really beautiful little ritual that I have every morning. And I film my 3 TikToks and then I drip them out throughout the day. And that's my content creation. And that's my most consistent content creation because it is attached to that ritual. When it comes to this podcast or to my YouTube, I am slightly less consistent. I am consistent. I'm just not as, I don't post as frequently as I would like. I consistently post every 2 weeks. I would like to post every week, but it is what it is. And so ritual and routine can make content creation more fun and more sustainable and help you be more consistent. And while we're talking about consistency, that is probably another reason my content creation is fun. And that is because I do not aim to be consistent. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not consistent. I am. But that's not what I'm aiming for. I think consistency is not the end goal, right? When you think about what you want for your business, do you want to make a podcast every single week? Or do you want to increase your listeners and your downloads? Do you want to grow your email list and increase your number of customers? Like, that's really what you want. You want to make an impact and make money. You don't care if you post consistently. Consistency is just the vehicle that gets you to those other goals, which means, I don't know, consistency is not always the best vehicle, depending on the person. It's just not always the best vehicle. For me, a much better vehicle I have found is persistence. Just not fucking giving up. Refusing to let go. Like I'm gonna play tug of war with this dog, and this dog can drag me to kingdom come, but I am not letting go, And that's kind of how I think about content creation. And man, I say that it sounds like a bit of a slog. It sounds hard, but it's really not, because basically you're just saying, oh, I didn't post today. Can you tell I'm from the Midwest? Oh, I didn't post today. Not the end of the world. I didn't break any kind of streak. I'll just post tomorrow. Or, oh, I didn't post today. All right, I'll post something right now. It doesn't have to, even though I really like rituals and routines, it doesn't have to only be your ritual and your routine. You can do kind of random stuff, which if you're aiming for consistency, you could never, But why aim for consistency? That's not the end goal that you want. The end goal you want is more impact, more sales, more leads, that kind of thing. And persistence will get you there just as well, if not better, than consistency. So, man, I've gone on quite a few of my favorite rants today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you need to know about content creation. We've talked about kind of what it is, content marketing. We talked about what makes it fun for me. Another element of what makes content marketing fun for me is I turn it into a game. I just straight up turn it into a game. So I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons nerd. So I will write out, 20 different content marketing tasks I need to do. And then I will roll a 20-sided dice and I will just do whatever number it lands on. Or if I'm feeling particularly stubborn that day, it'll land on, say, 17, and I will look at it and be like, no, I'm going to do 4. Regardless, I'm still getting stuff done. So it's fine. Another big gamification thing that I do is I will make a bingo board where I'll make like a 3x3 grid. And then I will fill in that grid with 9 different tasks. And my job is not to do all 9 tasks. My job is just to get a bingo somehow, some way. And that works very well for me as well. So let's see, gamification. I forgot to talk about like the biggest reason I love content marketing. And that's because I love my business. I love the subject matter of my businesses. I love talking about business and I love talking about neurodivergence. They are 2 of my biggest special interests as an autistic person. I absorb content about these things like you would not believe. all I listen to are business podcasts, and all I read are books about neurodivergence, and of course some smut. But besides that, I just am a sponge for these things, and I love absorbing it, synthesizing it, making it make sense within the paradigm of my life and my lived experience, and then I spit it back out in a way that my people can see it in their life and their lived experience. And that is really valuable to them. And it's one of the ways I've grown my TikTok to over 300,000 followers, is being able to be relatable like that. And so I think just fall in love with the content, the subject of your business. And I know I was saying before, you don't have to love your job, but I think content marketing is a lot easier if you love what you're talking about. It just is. So that is the last piece of advice I'm going to give. Now, I did promise you there was going to be something special at the end, and there is. So I am putting together something very special. It is called the Biz Besties Bundle Content Marketing Edition. And it is a bundle of digital products created by different business owners who specialize in helping people with different types of content marketing. So for example, we have Heather Ferris, who is contributing a digital product related to Pinterest. We have Andrea Jones, who is contributing a product related to podcasting. We have me, I'm contributing a product related to TikTok, and so on and so forth. There are, I want to say, somewhere between 15 and 20 people contributing, so 15 to 20 products in this bundle, and it's free. It is totally free for you. These are products that are usually paid. There is over $700 worth of products in this bundle, and you can get it completely free. Now, before you run to the description or the show notes, it is not available just yet, but you should go to the show notes and the description to get on the wait list, because this is especially true for those of you listening who are like, well, that sounds great, but I don't really know where I'm supposed to be doing content marketing yet. I feel like I'm not ready for this bundle. Well, I have a little thing to help you. I created a content platform decision flowchart that will literally walk you through the questions you need to ask yourself in order to determine which platforms you should be creating content on. So, and then it kind of goes through each platform and what its strengths and weaknesses are and stuff like that. So if you sign up for the waitlist, you will get immediate access to that so that you can start making a plan so that when the bundle goes live on September 3rd, you can get access to the gifts that you most want and need. So that is my spiel on content marketing. Go sign up for the waitlist for the Biz Besties Bundle Content Marketing Edition, and I will talk to you all next time. Thank you so much for listening, learning, and most importantly, implementing with us today. Go forth and take some big, messy action.